Hi, hello, welcome. It is my plan right now to get rid of this old girl because I've been having trouble with the motor. One of the problems with getting rid of this is getting it out of my basement and upstairs because these things are heavy and I'm old. So I'm thinking, well, I'm also going to get do the recall for the motor, which means cutting the cord to the motor. And I had a thought, if I take this up in pieces, it'll be easier than trying to get it up in one single chunk. I can probably do it myself then. So I figured, why not film myself doing it? I'm going to do a long form video of this, just the shop hangout, and then I will probably also do an edited, quicker version of it. So let's see what we find. All right, let's get going on this. And I'll do close-ups how and wherever they make sense to do. Now, unlock this. There we go. This I've already shown on several other videos. There's a 3/4 inch nut back here, and this whole carriage assembly will drop right off. And I need to cut this cord here and here and take pictures of that. My advice to any maker, always keep a set of linesman pliers on hand. These things are great. They will cut through anything. I mean, honestly, this cord was frayed anyway, so I mean, it's not like, oh, I'm not getting a good bite on it. There we go. It's not like this couldn't be replaced. I mean, all you have to do is get to the connections on each end. All right, now I gotta take my pictures for the recall, showing that that cord has been cut, and also the make and model ID plate. Hey, 50 bucks is 50 bucks, right? As I said, this is 3/4. I'm assuming it's not actually metric with a 3/4 equivalent. That would make very little sense considering the age of the tool. All right, I don't think I need to take this apart any further. Now, this is, oh, I was going to say, I think this is just a shroud, but that feels like a solid, like, piece of cast aluminum. There are Phillips screws on the back here, so let me pull those off. Does not help that my workbench is an absolute disaster right now. bring you back over here. So you can see we have some Phillips right here. Let's see what lies behind this cover. Shall we? Huzzah! All right, we get a couple of bolts here and a couple up here, and this pretty obviously looks like it secures the cross arm to the central post. Oh, that just pops right off. It's the plastic cover. And what am I seeing under there? I see what looks like some set screws facing forward that way. I have no idea how I'm going to get to those. But let's try taking these off and see what happens then. That's smaller than 3/4, but maybe bigger than a half. 9/16 maybe? I can think in metric for some things, but I think much more easily in English for others. 9/16 is 14 mil, 1/2 inch is 13 mil. I know that from my automotive days. This could go very poorly if these brackets are actually what's holding that on there, and this whole arm is going to dump when I take these ones off. So let's see if that's what happens or not. Ah, no, that takes this trim piece off here. And this seems to serve, well, no, it does, it goes on there. This might be like a bearing surface. Yeah, I don't think these are what are actually holding that arm on. No, these are holding these brackets on. I genuinely think these brackets maybe serve as a bearing. Found a bin to toss the parts in. Now I see a silver screw. I don't know if you can see that or not. There's a silver bolt right there. I can't really see what's going on that side. Let me throw a little light in there. Oh, you know what? That might have a piece of spring steel there. That might be part of what that rotational mechanism is. Right, that would be this. Oh yeah. Oh, that is. Yep. So that metal piece and that spring piece are part of the mitering adjustment. And without those two brackets on, this is definitely loose and wobbly. Maybe I should try taking this stuff off first. Thing is, I was thinking if I can get this off, then I can just flip it over and I'll be able to see what's underneath there much more easily. No, it doesn't want to just lift right up. I think there might be screws in there holding it in place. This is an interesting question. How does that come off? Because I see, looks like threaded pieces. I know you can't see from down there. Screws that are going in. Right. But that's not attached to that pipe. You know, my fat head's in the way. This has to come off of here somehow. All right, to take this off, I think, see, that rides on the bearings. And I know the adjustments for this is with Allen. So I'm thinking if I just loosen those Allen screws up, that might come off. These are all almost certainly going to be English measurements. I say that based on the year that this saw is made, like in the 80s somewhere. Pretty sure those were Allens. Ah, there's the hole. Now it's just a matter of finding the correct size. There we go, there's one. That's fiddly. Well, let's disassemble this. This disassembly is in one of my other videos, I know. So I remember doing it before. Right, and this just slides right out through there. We're going to take that off. Oh, I don't remember what size that is. No, that's way too big. All right, this is weird. I know I've had this off before. I know for a fact I've had this off before, but for some reason I cannot find the socket that fits it. So let me see if I can get at it with an adjustable wrench here. This is not my first choice of tool here, but unless I can find the socket or figure out what size this is and see if I've got a flat wrench to fit it. There we go. Yeah, it looks like it's maybe 1/4 inch or 8 mil maybe. I mean, probably 1/4 inch. Once again, considering. I have to get myself some more sockets. I mean, the ones I have are kind of scattered around in the toolbox anyway. And this is actually the detent pin right here. And I have this disassembled in other videos. So that's how that comes apart. I can see so let's get you under here so you can see what I'm seeing. There's this metal rib right that runs along here, and that's what the roller bearings are resting on. And then we've got 4 screws, 6 screws maybe. Let's get those out. Those are probably going to be half. Are they 9/16? No, 9/16 is too big. So those are going to be 1/2 inch. Nope, 1/2 inch is too small. Oh, that's 7/16. No, we need a 1/2 inch or 13 mil to get those off. Going the wrong way with that? Yes, I was going the wrong way with that. Tell you what, it's moments like this that I do miss my pneumatic tools of old. An air ratchet here would be primo. Now, I don't know what's going to happen when I take these off. Is that going to free up the top part of the arm? Is that going to make the base drop right off? We will discover this together. Just saying, an air ratchet would be great here. Ah, that answers my question there. All right, this whole bottom section is coming off now. So someone asked me a question on one of my other videos about how you get to the bearings. I believe I am in the process of answering that question even as I speak. This is kind of a pain because it's not quite loose enough to do. Oh, there we go. I say it's not quite finger loose. Now it's finger loose. But I also have to keep this supported so it doesn't just come crashing down on everything. There we go. All right. My socket's out of the way so we can get a look at this. My bandsaw bed is now a work surface. That's where that has been. Should be able to just pull that through. Here we go. All right, there is our carriage and bearing track. And look at that. That just rolls right off the carriage there. And there's your upper guide bearings. Ugh, what a mess. So, looks like we've got two bearings here, the roller bearings that ride on the track, and we've got two bearings on either side to give it stability, I'm sure. This is a detent pin right here for the bevel rotation. Is that the bevel? Whatever, for that rotation. The swivel, it's for the swivel. Yeah. Right there, can you see that? Is that on camera? Yeah. Right there is the swivel rotation lock pin. So they clean all this gunk out of here. I'm gonna get some spray. I can't deal with this. All right, that was a shocking waste of dry lube, but I like this. I can see what's going on here. Got the bolts holding this together. As I mentioned, this pin right here is our swivel detent. You can see the pin moving in and out. We've got screws here holding these little accessory bits on, and there's bolts on the back of these bearings. So if you need to get the bearings off, you take those bolts off of there. And that's all there really is to this whole assembly here. You get a couple of screws to take that off. So if you need to get to these bearings, you know what? I'll make this a short. If you need to get to these bearings, you undo the 6 bolts in this and lower the front end down, and then this just slides right on and off that track like that. Slots in here and just goes on and off. I can't even... Pieces flying. Anyway. All right, I've got this turned sideways for a second so I can clip this part and make it a short. If you need to get to your bearings, there are 6 bolts that hold this piece up into here. You take those off, you drop this down, and then the piece with the bearing just slides right off, and there's all your bearings. That still hasn't removed this arm. Looks like getting the switch off. There's a couple of Phillips screws for that. Yep, that's going to take that cover piece off right there. That's this trim piece, right? Are there more screws than that? I only see those 2. Oh, crap. All right, this cover, 2 screws going up this way, that uncovers the switch assembly. Right, and so I can't tell if I'm pointing to that or not. So I just need to move this over so I can see more of the screen. There we go. All right, there's the switch assembly. Looks like with that cover off, looks like the switch just pops right out of there. Oh yeah. And we've just got a couple of paddle blade connectors there that'll use pliers to get those off. Or my fingers. Oh, they're on there good. Linesmans are a little bulky for this type of work, but hey, use what you got, right? There we go. And there is our lockout switch assembly. This is worth hanging on to. Okay, that's all well and good, but it hasn't gotten me any closer to getting this arm off. So we're going to go around the side here. I'm going to I'm going to start taking the screws off of this casing here, see what's going on in there. All right, that's the hard way. We're going to do this the easy way. No, can't get square onto that. This is kind of annoying. I can't quite get square onto it. With that half taken apart, I can't get it to rotate either. You know what? I think an extension will get me there. Not that this is an impact extension or anything, mind you, but it'll get the job done. Get her done! Oh, just one down at the bottom there. Ta-da! All right, my lovelies, that is what that whole assembly looks like back there underneath that cover. Let me drop it down and get you a good look. So I'm pretty sure there were plastic covers here. I'm pretty sure these are what you take off to make that adjustment right there. And see, that's still not what attaches the arm up here. That's what's kind of got me buggered at the moment. Because that might have the arm come off of this frame. So if I take these off, this whole arm assembly I think will drop right out. Down here you see you've got the worm drive for raising and lowering it. All right, this is probably going to be a catastrophe, but let's get to it. We half, or we just, no, it's 9/16. Genuinely, I think these are bearing caps. I think that's what they're designed to do. I mean, it doesn't have a bearing like, you know, an internal combustion engine would have, like a crankshaft bearing, but it serves the same function. And I'm pretty sure this is designed to be a bearing surface. It is slightly lubricated in there. Now, if I am right about this, there's a very good chance this whole assembly is going to go crashing forward when I take this bolt out. All right, it is not crashing forward. At the same time, I don't see anything that's any longer, unless that is holding it in place. I think this whole arm is free to come out now. Nope. There is something else holding that in place. I wonder if it's whatever's underneath that. Because that still feels... Yeah, that's securely in place. There must be a way to take this arm off, and I'm just not seeing it yet. I'm close because it's loose. But I'm clearly missing something. I wonder if I take that... Try taking that lock spring off and see what happens. Right, the lock spring is right in there. Being a little careful because I don't want my fingers to be in between pieces of metal if this thing decides to just let go and let God. I mean, that kind of understanding comes from long years and painful experience. Trust me on that. All right, I am missing something still. I just don't know what. Something just gave. I just took that out from underneath there. Ah, that's the that is the detent spring assembly. So the detent spring piece is completely loose right now. What am I missing? What is holding this thing in place? Does it just need to come up? All right, we are damn close here, and I am not going to give up that easily. That's the detent. That's the spring. It genuinely feels like it should just slip up and off. Oh, let's get this cover off. All right, I'm taking this cover off. This is the one with the miter gauge on it. A couple of screws pointing down that are holding this in place. That may give us the access that we need to get that arm off. Whoa! Or that might be what was holding this on. Thank God this swing arm is only aluminum. If this thing was cast iron, I don't know if I could hold it. Wow, that is only being held on by this, the detent mechanism. It's a detent spring with the pull cable. Can we, how in heaven's name do we get this off? We take this off and then this whole thing will slide up. All right. This right here is what I was seeing, the threaded ends come through. Once this comes off, that whole piece is going to come off. And that looks like it's a fat Allen. So let's get us a fat Allen. Yeah, this looks like it's just a brace, honestly. Like, I think the sole purpose of this piece is to hold this piece of metal on. It doesn't look like it serves any other purpose. It's not as far as I can tell. Yeah, there are 3 screws. It looks like they're, honestly, it looks like they're self-tapped into the steel. Like, I genuinely don't think that they drilled and tapped holes for these. Oh, maybe they did. Just looks kind of brutalist inside there, that's all. I mean, I don't know if you can see down in there. Yeah, there you go. See how they're just kind of pushing through the metal? Those aren't cleanly drilled holes. Those look like something that was self-tapped to me, although the ends of the screws don't look like self-tappers. See, now I just want to rotate this out of the way one way or the other. Oh, there we go. Right, so to get the arm off, you take the miter gauge off the top, take these 3 screws out, I think, and then this whole thing should just come right off. Here we go. Taps right out of the way. And then this whole assembly this would probably be easier if I had left all of this connected and I could pull tension off of the adjuster. There it is. There it is. Okay, so oh, there was a spring in there from something. So, to recap, to get the arm off, hold on. All right, so to recap, to get the arm off, you pop this off the miter gauge. There's 2 screws. The miter gauge comes off. There's 3 Allens that hold this onto here. That comes off, and then the whole arm just slops up right up off the top of the column. All right, and it genuinely looks like most of this whole assembly here is pinned and riveted in place. So I'm not sure how much of that you can actually disassemble. Yeah, it looks like the arm is pinned. That's definitely a rivet. Oh, so there's some screws there. Right, so take these screws off, and then I'll bet you can slide that whole arm right out. Oh, there's a blind bolt? You motherfuckers. There's a... There's a blind bolt right here coming up through this way that's holding this pivot in place. And if you take that off, that whole pivot arm will come right out. Oh, this is the kind of thing that used to piss me the fuck off when I was an auto mechanic. You have no idea how annoying this is. Let me see if I have a wrench that can get onto that. This is the kind of thing you'd have to have a specialty tool from Dodge or Chevy to get off. I can't even see what size it is. Half inch maybe? Can't even tell if I'm on it or not. Whoop, we got to go the other way with it. Yeah, it looks like it's half inch. This is the kind of stuff as a mechanic that is so annoying. And you just got to go like a quarter turn at a time. If you're lucky, you can actually see what you're doing. Half the time, it's buried away, so not only can you not get a wrench directly on it, you can't even see it. This is bringing up some bad memories. Does it show? An angled flat wrench would also work for this. They make them with little swivel heads on them. Ratcheting. That would also help here. Because you can't come straight in because you've got this stupid mount here. See, that is a self-tapping screw. How the hell did they put that in the first place? Oh. This plastic cover. Oh. All right, never mind. Never mind. I was being an idiot. You take this plastic cover off. Can you see me over here? That's what I see. The thing is, I had that half off and I forgot it comes all the way off. You take this plastic cover off and then you can get to that screw. It's not a blind screw. All right, never mind. But my grousing about Dodge and Chevy still stands. And Ford, for that matter. And just about every brand of car I've ever worked on except for Saturn and Toyota. And then this whole piece, this whole assembly just slides right out to the back. And there is our swivel lock adjustment assembly. Oh, it's even got a tensioner on it right here. It looks like, yeah. Right there's an Allen, a threaded Allen, and I think you can use this to open and close this and adjust the tension of the lock. That's good to know. And of course, we've got our wires here. We've got grounds with a screw that are mounted there, and then this whole assembly should just pull right out. While we're here, I suppose it doesn't hurt to harvest the copper, right? This stuff is like gold these days. You know, I was reading or watching a thing about copper mining the other day, and it turns out that we have basically already consumed all of the copper-rich ore on the planet. So now when you mine for copper, you'll mine like 10 tons and be lucky to get 1 pound of copper out of it. It's some insane number like that. I don't know if that's exactly it. Yeah, these are two assemblies that are wired together. And this, yep, that's, you can't see that. That just snugs down in place there. And then you drop your light on the floor like that. And I imagine this whole thing comes up through this way. Oh, we got the plug on that end. Well, how in Hades' name did they get this in here in the first place? All right, that looks like it snaps in place so we can, oh yeah. So that just comes right off. And presumably, you'll be able to fiddle this through. You know, they probably ran this wire through first and then attached the other section to it. I'm pretty sure that's how that would have gone. But yeah, here we go. Oh, and we got one more of these we got to pop off like that. And there we have it. We've taken the wiring harness out. Now, and that is that for this arm disassembly. This is just an aluminum casting. One solid piece. Now, there are 4 more bolts down here that I believe are holding this column in place. So let's get those bolts off and see what happens, shall we? Those are 9/16, it looks like, or 14 millimeter. Oh. Smaller? Half inch? They look too big to be half inch. But I could be misjudging that. Oh, they are in fact a very snug half inch. I'm hoping this video will be useful to someone. It makes sense to me from a mechanic's perspective to take the bottom bolts off first and then the top bolt off. Because if this is what's holding that on there and we take the top bolt off, the whole assembly is going to lean that way. And it's going to make it harder to take the bottom bolt off. But if we take the bottom bolt off first, it's still putting pressure against that top bolt, but the column can't shift out of place. You know what? I think I just saw another set of bolts that need to come off. Yeah. See, these are necessary, but these are not what's actually holding it in. Some of you may be a step ahead of me already. If you look down there, you can see these two axle points. On either side of that, there's the bolt head. So I'm pretty sure what happens is this piece gets slotted into place and then those two bolts lock it down. Let's see if I'm right about that. Whoop, there it goes. Yeah, and it's it just slotted against those. So it should kind of stay in place, kind of sort of stay in place. Now we just have to disconnect this. So will that just... Yeah, see, that's that. Ah, we have a spring clip. And I do not have snap ring pliers. Get you in close here. There you go. You can see on the end of this gear here, there's a snap ring right there holding it in place. And I don't have snap ring pliers. But I think once I free that, or take the bolt out of the bottom there. There's a bolt on the underside of this that should allow that whole column to come right up. And I think it's our old friend 3/4, but we'll find out. It is indeed. No, that doesn't want to come up. So I need to disconnect that crank lever either from the front or the back. One of the two. There's a screw right in the center of the the blade elevation handle here, and that slides right off. And on the other side, we have yet again another spring clip. That one looks like I might be able to get it off with a screwdriver. Like, genuinely, I haven't needed snap ring pliers for anything and for so long. I don't even own a pair anymore. So I may actually have to buy a pair of snap ring pliers to finish this. Because there's a snap ring on this end, and there's a snap ring on that end. And I don't know, without pliers, I don't know if it's coming off. I think that's just rotating around. I don't think that's actually opening up. Oh! Did I get it? It looks like it's slotting off. Yeah! Alright. Alright, I got that one off. Snap ring, baby. Yeah. All right, and that, my friends, is how you get that done. Looks like we've got a couple of washers on here. Come on, wiggle, wiggle, wiggle. No, I said wiggle, wiggle, wiggle. I don't think this is permanently attached to the bottom of this. No, this is also just going to wiggle off. All right, I imagine a little bit of hammer strike there will get that up. Normally I'd use like a dead blow mallet or something, or I think that's how that's going to move up. I don't know for sure though, but it doesn't matter. That's a piece of aluminum there. This is one of the heaviest bits of this whole thing, is this solid steel column here. Oh, you know what? I bet if you turn this far enough, it'll push that right clean out of there. But all by itself, it's not awful. It's heavy, but it's not terrible. All right, just for the hell of it, we got some screws holding this faceplate on. The rest of this looks like it's just welded together. We got another snap ring back there. It would need to come off. See, this one I might just be able to pry if I can get the pliers on it. Nah. Here we go. And that steel rod just slides right out. That's the arm raising piece. You know, I have to admit, this was actually easier than I was expecting it to be. That was all really straightforward disassembly type stuff. Trim piece. Screws underneath. My extendo. Yarg, let it go. Cease and desist. Right. All right, all that remains here is the bolts that are holding the leg onto this base, and this base is riveted or welded together, punch welded, whatever that's called. Wow, there we are. All right, so there we have it. Yeah, I'm sweating like a pig here. A complete teardown of 1300 series radial arm saw. Your specific model will probably vary from this one. I know there's some that have the digital display up here, some of them that have the release lever up here instead of on the front of this. So there's going to be minor differences, but I'll bet most of the major sub-assemblies are the same. We'll see you in the next video. Bye.